The voice of sharing, durian ASEAN.
ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hey, good morning. This is Arlene.
Hi, this is Gowri.
And of course, you are always with us on our news commentary today. But Gowri, so how have you been lately?
I've been okay. Pretty tired trying to juggle a lot of things at once.
Well, the same thing is happening with our government too.
That's right.
So many things at once. But before we go to Malaysia as one of our news, let's go to the South China Sea. I think the issue of South China Sea will always be one of the issue that you just go round and round at like circles, and to add on to the conflict is Japan. So apparently, according to this news, that Japan will boost its support for ASEAN to thwart China.
And that's interesting because doesn't Japan also have certain conflicts with China when it comes to the South China Sea?
Historically as well.
Right. But it seems that Japan is trying to be the helping hand here, since like you mentioned, we kept going round and round in circles and we haven't had a proper solution for this problem, although there's been some promising talks in the past. So maybe Japan's intervention here could be the boost that we actually need.
So what kind of intervention that is trying to give? I mean, we all know that Japan do not really want to be involved directly, as in like they do not want to start any war, they do not want to make any comments that will somehow jeopardize their relationship with China. So what they can do is to somehow facilitate countries, especially Southeast Asian countries, to strengthen either their military capabilities or their security border around the South China Sea. So Defense Minister General Nakatani had declared Japan's intention to heighten its support of ASEAN to counter China's move to reclaim land on reefs in the Spratly Islands and establish military facilities there.
And he also said that in order to ensure the safety of regional waters as a strategic focal point of our sea lanes, it is with an extreme importance to enhance capabilities for maritime domain awareness and ISR, which is intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance with ASEAN countries. And it seems that Japan is quite serious, especially according to the defense minister, that it's very important for us to ensure the safety of the regional waters here, because what started out as a small dispute could actually turn out to be something big as well.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And because of that, based on these new principles on transferring defense equipment approved by the cabinet in April last year, the government also intend to move quickly with the transfer of such equipment and technology, such as radar technology. So Japan is at the forefront when it comes to technology. So if we have Japan on our back, we're actually quite safe.
Yeah, I think
so.
And also in preparation for any possible clash that we might have in the South China Sea, the government is also sort of hurrying to pass security-related legislation, including a bill related to important influence situations. That's pretty interesting.
What is that? It sounds complicated. It sounds like we are at war now. Are we?
Oh yeah, it does sound pretty intense actually. Well, especially for Southeast Asia, where we are so used to having this peaceful atmosphere, this non-interference policy where we're just friends with everybody and we're not used to being hostile.
So apparently this important influence situation means that if an armed conflict occur in Southeast Asia and Japan put itself in danger of such possibilities as an armed attack by not responding, the bill envisions such a situation would be designated as an important influence situation. In this case, Japan would allow the self-defense force to provide logistical aid to US forces dealing with the conflict, such as refueling. So the thing about Japan is, because of its history of World War II, it cannot somehow
have like a full-fledged.
It cannot have offensive attack against countries. It can self-defense itself. But in this case, because of the bill, its self-defense would be trying to aid other countries that is on an offensive attack towards China if China decide to have an all-out war with Southeast Asia or the US or whatever. So that's pretty scary if countries can actually foresee that would happen if they want to.
That's right. And also to have Japan intervening in this matter, it also sort of shows that ASEAN itself, as much as we try really hard to solve our own problems, at the end of the day, sadly, we do need a little help from outside to come in and lend us a hand, especially in this case in terms of technology that we can use for offensive reasons.
On the other hand, on the Chinese side, they have their strategy, which is a bit different. So apparently, they are using civilians as pawns in the South China Sea legal chess game. And according to Ouyang Yujing, head of the Foreign Ministry's Department of Boundary and Ocean Affairs, that China has every right to use its Spratly holdings for military purposes. The facilities would be primarily civilian, as in like they will have a community living there.
Yeah, that does sound a little insane for them to actually use their civilians as pawns in this chess game that they're playing with Vietnam and Philippines. And they are also building lighthouses and weather stations on those reclaimed land. And it seems that this would be pretty dangerous, I think, for you to have your civilians on the front line, especially in your facilities, because this is still a very, I would say, a very intense issue in the region. And
the weirdest development of this South China Sea is a Chinese cruise ship take patriotic tourists to separate group of contested islands. So it seems like they are also creating a little tourism industry there, so that they can sort of establish that, hey, this is our territory. You want to bomb us? We have civilians here.
And patriotic tourist sounds a bit interesting as well, because usually tourists will not be patriotic towards another country. It's wherever they come from, and China is using these people to separate, to put them in a separate islands, and also to project that as this is the islands with our tourists and this is with our civilians. So you cannot do anything to us.
I think we have to have another football match like how Vietnam does it last time.
Oh, yeah.
On the other hand, this is from the US side. So US Defense Secretary is asking Vietnam to end land reclamation. The US Defense Secretary Ashton Carter is urging Vietnam to give up its reclamation projects in the South China Sea, making a direct plea after earlier call for all countries in the Asia-Pacific region to halt the construction of artificial islands. So what China is looking at is to just say that everybody just stop doing anything there. Then we think. I think that's the US strategy now.
Right. But I think China's looking at it like everyone stop doing it, but we'll keep doing whatever we want to do. And we don't really care about what the US has to say in this case. And it seems that Carter's comments came actually in the wake of disclosures that China had placed 2 motorized artillery vehicles on one of the reclamation sites. And although one of it has been moved, we don't see China actually slowing down. Like you were saying earlier, the U.S. Defense Secretary did urge Vietnam, but did he also do the same for China? Can they actually step up and say the same thing to them? Are they in the position to do that?
I have no idea. But one thing that the U.S. is also trying to assist, this is the U.S. side, is they might lift the weaponry ban, weaponry sales ban that they had towards Vietnam in the past. Not all, but partially, or at least in a limited time, because it wants Vietnam to have the opportunity to defend itself against China. So on the other hand, also from the U.S. side, is Carter is pledging for an $18 million US dollar to help Vietnam to buy U.S.-built metal shark patrol boats. So that means that it's another military offensive, all-out defense.
That's right. And Carter also commended the defense ministers from Malaysia for advocating the increase in cooperative maritime patrol flights. So that's one of the things with Southeast Asia as well. We're just surrounded by the South China Sea, and so happens that it is called the South China Sea. So China feels like they probably have the most right to it. And because we're surrounded by this, we definitely need a very good maritime control to have all these coast guards along our borders, and also to make sure that when it comes to a conflict like this, we have a specific way to address it, because it's definitely a lot trickier. It's not the same as when you have a land border issue. You can easily just draw the line. But this comes to water, to the ocean. How exactly do you...
That is really hard, because traditionally we never focus on maritime borders as much as land borders. I think that's the reason why the conflict started in the beginning. It started with a lot of countries involved in it, but now it seems like China against ASEAN countries. And on the other hand, the US is also gaining support with its trilateral defense ministerial talk with Japan and Australia, calling for ASEAN and China to reach early agreement on meaningful code of conduct, which has always been suggested by the US as part of the peaceful negotiation. And what make it even worse is, guess what? Russia is on this as well.
Really?
Yes. And you thought it's just the US and Southeast Asia and Japan.
Superpowers coming together. This is getting really scary.
Yeah, it's like a Game of Thrones. Am I right?
I was going for World War II, but okay.
So Russian Deputy Defense Minister Antonov said that Russia will take part in naval military exercises together with its Asia-Pacific allies, because they are concerned by U.S. policy in the region, especially since every day it becomes increasingly focused on systemic containment of Russia and China.
So the U.S. Foreign policies are trying to contain Russia and China, so Russia is afraid of that they might just be shoved aside by the US.
It's like every superpower is focusing on our region now.
That's right. So we better solve this if we don't want all these people to come in and tell us what to do.
No more any proxy war. So anyway, we'll take another one short break. I will play a song by Lenka, and when we return, we will talk more about the issue of human trafficking, which is plaguing Malaysia, Thailand, and all over Southeast Asia.
ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hey, this is Arlene.
Hi, this is Gowri.
And of course, you're still with us on our ASEAN Daily. So we discussed a lot about South China Sea and different countries coming in together. Another transnational issue is, of course, human trafficking. So apparently, the snakehead, and snakehead is actually an international criminal slang for human smugglers, is hiding in the border area of Thailand and Malaysia.
Right, and also this snakehead is believed to be behind the trafficking of all the Rohingya refugees and Bangladeshi immigrants, and it's one of the things that's also gaining a lot of international attention, and not in a good way. I think there's been a lot of criticism from not only Southeast Asia, from countries all over the world, saying that ASEAN has probably failed and it's never going to work because we cannot even solve one issue by ourselves.
We can't. And apparently it's in hiding in Ranong, bordering Kwatong in Myanmar. But at the same time, this is really something that I feel that the authorities should have done earlier in terms of trying to catch the mastermind hiding in Thailand. And apparently, according to some local villages like Surin Mochen, that the henchman brought the refugee from somewhere could be Myanmar, and he has a boss, which is, of course, they call him as Snakehead, who is from Ranong, and he comes from that area as well. So it's an insider's job, apparently.
That's right. And also, I think we reported a few days back that the guy who was in charge of the whole human trafficking thing was even a Rohingya himself. And I guess he was just trying to make a few extra bucks, or trying to go at it in a different way. And it's really sad to see that what's happening in Myanmar is being caused by the insiders themselves, who are not actually taking accountability for what happened, and they are making their own people suffer in this case.
Well, Malaysia is still trying to investigate and catching just a few, I would say, ikan bilis, anchovies,
and trying to host a mini summit somewhere
in order to address human trafficking, of course. In Thailand, Region 9 Police Deputy Commander March General Puchichat Ekachan said that the 4 new arrest warrants brought the total of 81. Some 51 suspects have been arrested, while 30 are still at large. But one thing that I would like to comment on Thai police, they are quite efficient in this. I think they are scared that they will be blamed for not doing anything.
That's right. I mean, they were the ones who started out the whole crackdown on human trafficking as well, because of complaints about how Southeast Asia is so bad at handling human rights issues, and all this human trafficking were using Thailand as sort of the center point to get from Myanmar or Cambodia through Thailand to all the way to Malaysia, to Singapore, to Indonesia. And because of that, they didn't want to get accused as well. So they said, okay, we're going to start a huge crackdown. And that's when everyone fled, and we had the whole issue with the Rohingya people on the boat. And I think Thailand is actually being the most proactive country here.
Yeah, unfortunately, Malaysia, because of Thailand, we started follow up with them, because we don't want to be seen as lazy. But in reality, we could be the one that would have cracked down on all the different human trafficking sites. And apparently, it's more than just one place. It's more than just one Korean. Today, the police have discovered. And in Thailand, police brought 12 Rohingya migrants to identify sites believed to be camps where they were detained, and asked to identify which suspects manned the camps where they were held. And there you go. You have police working their ass off, but to what extent they can ensure that human trafficking will be able to be contained in Southeast Asia? Because in reality, Thailand and Malaysia is at the bottom rung of the US report for human trafficking ranking.
And as much as Thailand is doing all this, it's really not a one country effort, because when it comes to human trafficking, like I was saying earlier, it goes through so many countries. It starts here. This one is like the sort of transmission.
I guess you're saying the elephant in the room is Myanmar, right?
Yeah, Myanmar, even Malaysia, actually. That we know we have a lot of refugees here, a lot of human trafficking going on, but nothing's being done about it. When you hear all the refugees saying over and over again that all these workers brought in illegally always end up in the Ipoh bus station, which everyone knows. But why is nobody doing any checkup there, making a spot check there?
That's true. But I feel that the biggest country that is still in denial is Myanmar. Recently, there's a conference focusing just on the Rohingya, and Myanmar, instead of trying to acknowledge its wrongdoings, it rejected and quoted as unbalanced Rohingya remarks in Oslo. And
they really don't like that term, do they?
I have no idea
it's like
why.
Anyone would just say Rohingya and they're like, okay, we're not friends with you anymore because you said the word.
It sounds like that one kid in the kindergarten during recess time in the playground,
exactly.
right?
and that is sort of the root of all the problem right now, because so long as Myanmar keeps living in denial and saying that no, we don't want to use that term, they are right there and they're dying in front of you, and I don't know how long is Myanmar gonna carry on trying to just brush it off.
And that Oslo conference in Norway is really a high-level sort of activist conference, because the people present there were Nobel laureates like South Africa's Desmond Tutu, Iranian human rights activist Shirin Ebadi, and former East Timor President Jose Ramos Horta made the appeal and called the situation of Rohingya in Myanmar nothing less than genocide. And the thing is, civil society in this region have been saying the same thing, but no government in Southeast Asia take notice of them.
I think genocide is another big term to use. We used it when there is a huge ethnic cleansing, and it happened, of course, during the World War II, which drew a huge outrage, and now it's happening again in our own backyard. But we are trying not to acknowledge it, because once we recognize that it's actually a genocide, it's a very, very big deal, and everyone. It's not something that you can just ignore, with this whole community being tortured and killed and being forced out of the country. It surprises me that we still don't have a concrete solution to this, and people are just dying out there.
And do you know what Myanmar Foreign Minister said instead? He said that Myanmar is actually building efforts to create trust between Buddhists and Muslim in the Western Rakhine State, and granting, quote unquote, granting citizenship through national verification process to those they don't call it Rohingya, they call it Bengalis living in Myanmar for many years.
But I don't think they wanted to be addressed by the term Bengali as well, do they?
That's one thing. The words, semantic words is one thing. But I think another thing is, I think they're still in denial, and they are thinking that countries all over the world are accusing them for the wrong reason, but actually they are the one who's not realizing that they are creating this genocide.
And are they actually going to do this? I mean, it sounds pretty promising that Myanmar is making efforts to bridge the gap between the Buddhists and the Muslims. But at the state that things are right now, where it seems like the Buddhists really, really have a problem with the Muslim community in Myanmar, can they actually get through with the plan? And if the government actually give them citizenship through whatever process it is, how will the people of Myanmar react?
That's true. There's a huge question mark there. We'll take one short break. When we return, we will have our economic and business news.
ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hey, this is Arlene.
Hi, this is Gowri.
And of course, you are with us on our ASEAN Daily again, and this time we are talking about business and economy and Malaysia Airlines.
That's right, Malaysian Airlines.
There's never a good news about Malaysia Airlines, Gowri. Why?
Which is why we needed a new CEO in the first place, because there were speculations that Malaysian Airlines was this close to bankruptcy, and we needed someone to come in, someone from outside again, to come in and salvage the whole airline for us.
And tell me more about this axing of 6,000 jobs. It's a lot of jobs. And changing the name of Malaysia Airlines. Will they be doing that?
It seems that this guy, Muller, and Muller reminds me of another German football player actually, but he has been appointed as the new CEO. His name is Christoph Muller, and apparently he has spearheaded a few other revamps at Lufthansa and also another company which I can't remember, and he has a reputation for being able to turn the whole airline industry around. And
another word,
it seems
micromanaging.
yeah,
Sounds familiar, right?
and he definitely came up with a few changes. And one of the things that he wanted to do is to have a new name, like you were saying, and come up with a new brand. And of course, the most controversial move that he made was to cut down 30% of the staff.
So he wants to trim the fat. What kind of fat is the staff, apparently?
I think, another thing that Malaysia is notorious for is that we tend to hire more people than we need and paying them when it's not really too productive. So I guess Mr. CEO here is looking at how he can work with lesser people and only hire exactly the amount that they need and not to
For Muller, I think he comes from a background where it's all about business or business as usual. But the problem with Mars Airline is it's a national brand. It's a national GLC company. It's not like Air Asia. They can revamp anything. They can change anything, and people won't care about this. But this is like part of the Malaysian identity. It's like Singapore Airlines as well. It's part of the Singapore's identity. People have love-hate relationship towards this airline. But to completely revamp and treat it as a commercial entity, I think Malaysian won't be happy about it.
I mean, especially the change of name. We don't know what name he's going to come up with yet, but like you were saying, it is our national airline, and any other name that he comes up with, if it doesn't reflect the fact that it is our national airline, that it is the pride of our country. I mean, of course, as much as we're criticizing MAS, we are a lot well off than probably other countries because we have our own national car, we have our own national airline, and it's something that we want to take pride in, and which is why we've also brought in.
Is it maybe that's the problem? Like we treat commercial entity as if it's the same as national identity. Maybe it's not.
Well, perhaps they're not too clear about the differences as well when it comes to handling these two different things in two different approaches.
I don't know about how the future of Malaysia Airlines would be, but I think Malaysians need to somehow go back to their own cocoon and I guess reflect on what is the future of Malaysia. I mean, are we ready for total free market intervention, or we still want some form of protectionism where certain part of our identity is being preserved, like the job cuts? Are we okay with massive job cuts, or we want to be like somehow treat Malaysia Airlines like a pseudo government where maybe you can transfer them into something else or doing something else?
I think people will be happy so long as he doesn't start bringing in German people to work on Malaysia Airlines. I mean, Germans are known for their efficiency and productivity when it comes to work, and they are also very strict. Where I think if your boss calls you like after office hours, you can sue him or something. So it's probably going to take him a while as well to get used to the Malaysian culture and the way things work here. And one of the things is it's great that he's going to work at it from Malaysia, that he's going to revamp, have a new brand name, but hopefully it still reflects the Malaysian culture and the fact that it's our national brand.
That's true. So on another news, do you know something is happening in Singapore right now, Gowri?
What is happening in Singapore? The SEA Games?
Yes, the SEA Games. So apparently there's a live stream of the SEA Game. You can go to seagames2015.com and watch it live on whatever sports that you are into. And just a bit of an update from Laos side, it scored the first victory in the football event of the SEA Games, beating I think I'm not sure which country that they beat, but I think it's most probably Brunei. Yeah.
So the SEA Games also drew a lot of attention on Twitter yesterday, and I think there was a few netball games that was happening between Malaysia and Philippines, between with Singapore and also Philippines, which will be taking place. And the SEA Games is another thing that's very interesting because it's where you see all the countries coming together, and despite all the problems that we're having right now, all the issues with the Rohingyas or with the South China Sea, we're actually able to get past it and still bring up our sports spirit and go for the SEA Games.
I tell you, sport is the solution.
A solution for everything.
For everything. On the other hand, I mean, SEA Games aside, on the other hand is about our, another of our national brand, which is Maggi noodles. I don't know whether it's our national brand or not because it's from Nestle,
That's right. I'm not too sure either, but it seems that Maggi noodles in the Brunei market, there were some issues that the products are manufactured at different factory sites in Malaysia, but they are saying that it's safe to consume according to our health ministry.
I think this was the news from the Nestle India, who said that noodles manufactured, Maggi noodles manufactured was unsafe. There you go, India.
That's right. And they also said that Nestle in India has also denied that their Maggi noodles are unsafe. They said they do not even add any MSG, any glutamate, and it's all from natural resources. But when it comes to Maggi itself, it's I mean, I'm not a big fan of Maggi,
Are you
although
kidding
I'm
me?
a Malaysian.
I thought you like Maggi goreng.
Yes, I do. But I'm actually, if I had a choice, I would be against the whole idea of Maggi just because of how unhealthy it is to people's health.
Oh, now you're talking about health, Gowri.
Yeah, I am a bit of a hypocrite right now. Well, what to do? Maggi goreng is just too delicious.
Another hypocrisy that we have as Malaysians is regarding on smoking. So we have high tax on cigarettes, right? But we apparently we do nothing when it comes to shisha and e-cigarettes. While at the same time, Cambodia and even Singapore have banned shisha and e-cigarettes.
I'm not too sure about e-cigarettes, but there have been a lot of reports and research done showing that shisha is actually a lot more detrimental to your health compared to cigarettes, because the shisha, or some people call it the hookahs, they come in this like huge tank, and some people have just one all to themselves, and because of the way it's consumed as well, it's actually really strong compared to cigarettes. And although
so you tried all of them.
I've tried. Yes, I have actually.
Including cigarettes?
Yeah. And e-cigarettes, I've tried them all, and it seems that the shisha is actually very, very dangerous to your health. And I haven't read anything about e-cigarettes yet, but a lot of people seem to be very hopeful about that one. That is the future
I
of
call
smoking.
this conspiracy theory from the cigarettes company.
Right.
Just kidding about it. But just to give a bit of an update, because Cambodia had just cracked down on another shisha business, netting 30 smokers, and they are Prime Minister Hun Sen, so much being the longest Prime Minister alive, he's quite serious on the Cambodians' health. So yeah, he's looking at it seriously and trying to crack down on smokers
by
of
banning
shisha.
shishas.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I mean, even if you look at Malaysia, a lot of the shisha smokers are actually young people who frequent the mamak a lot.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why it's probably so popular, and they don't want to do anything about it because it's actually quite a lucrative thing.
So there you go, Gowri. Don't go to Cambodia and Singapore. Come to Malaysia.
Come to Malaysia. Malaysia, truly Asia.
So that's all from our news commentary today. You can always find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for any updates. And if they want to listen to us live,
they can always go to our website at www.duranasean.com, or if they don't have their computers with them, they can always download the TuneIn app on their smartphone and look for Durian ASEAN.
And listen to the podcast if you have time to go on YouTube and search for Durian ASEAN there.